Hi, hello, and how are you? That's right, ladies and gentlemen, that Rockwell timepiece says it's time. So come on in and stay a while. It's time to get coached up with another edition of the Coach Scott Field Show. That's right, Rockwell is continued to be a proud sponsor, and I'm a brand ambassador for the company. So if you take the time to go to rockwelltime.com, and if you use the code COACH20, you'll receive 20% off of any merchandise there on the website. Like and follow the Coach Scott Field Show on our Facebook page. And please take a moment to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Hit that subscribe channel and then hit the bell. That way you'll get notifications when outstanding guests like Bryan come on with us. If you're listening to us in podcast form, my man Bryan Neale and I say turn that knob up. We're about to put that sport flavor right in your ear. So watch us on DBTV Monday through Fridays, and then also Saturday mornings. You can also catch the Coach Scott Field Show on CSTV on Wednesdays. And don't forget, you can also catch us on the Rewind Sports 60. No matter how you consume us, I am beyond humbled that you choose us to get your news and wonderful content. So without further ado, you're not here to hear this follically challenged guy to chatter along. You're here to see my man, another fellow Hoosier, my guy, Bryan Neale, NFL referee, umpire number 92. Bryan, welcome to the show, my friend.
Thanks, Coach. It's so good to be here. And I love that you highlighted a couple things. Number one, the follically challenged. I have not heard it phrased that way. And I'm pushing, I think I'm even older than you. And this is God-given. I have not touched it. I am just a lucky. I got all my friends that are either follically challenged or I've just got it all and it's still the same color. Anywho,
I'm not going to lie.
So
I have some serious hair envy going on right now.
It's all right. I don't know. I'm sure it'll change at some point, but that's really funny. And hey, and again, you see in my background, if you're seeing this on video, I do have my IU little deal right there. I'm a proud Hoosier, born and raised in Evansville, Newburgh area. And so good to be with you. And let's be honest, your sport is still our state sport. It really is. I'm a football guy, but you know, we're a basketball state, aren't we?
We take it pretty serious. You can take a boy out of Indiana, but you can't take Indiana out of the boy.
Not even close. Not even close.
Thrilled to get back there in August for the induction, and that's down in your neck of the woods. So we're going to be in Evansville on August 11th and 12th. So I'm super excited for that.
I love it. That's I'm sure that everyone knows, Coach got inducted in the Basketball Hall of Fame, right? I mean, that is just like, if you're not from Indiana, I know a lot of you are not listening to this, boy, that's the pinnacle. I mean, it is in our state from the time you're a little kid, you learn to shoot. I was just talking today, had some clients in my office doing some coaching with them. And I always do a little timely check-in, and so I'm doing summer camp. I'm like, who went to summer camp? So one guy goes, the highlight of my summer was, and you'll know the coach. Who's the coach from Anderson? The shooting camp in Anderson, Indiana. Do you know what coach that was? I don't remember who that was.
Was it Donnie Bowling? He's the high school coach there at Anderson. He's a former player of mine who played for me at Chaminade University.
The funniest part to me was in Indiana, you go to shooting camp. You don't go to defense camp. You don't go to hustle camp. You don't go to screen camp. You go to shooting camp, right? That's what we do here. I love it.
Gotta have the mechanics, baby.
Got to. So fun. So fun.
Oh, this is good stuff. Bryan, super excited to have you come on. I'd be remiss if I didn't say how this introduction began.
Please do.
Ted Bernhardt, who passed away, was a guest on our show, and he had sent me a message via Facebook, and he says, Coach, you got to get in touch with Bryan Neale, phenomenal speaker. He's a podcaster, an incredible referee. And I was just like, man, I'd love to. And just right after his passing, may he rest in peace, I reached out to you, and you without hesitation, you were like, let's do it. So thank you, Ted, and may he rest in peace for making this connection and to allow us to grow our relationship. But yet, thank you for honoring his wish to have you be a guest on our show.
100%. I'm so glad you said that. And Ted was he was my first, or I was one of his first students, I guess, his first teaching job. I was in 6th grade, and he was my teacher, my homeroom teacher, and my basketball coach in 6th grade. And through our life experience and our referee experience, and then mostly then back up again to life experience after he retired. He was one of my dearest friends.
Oh,
Texted with him, sent me messages. He sent me a message about, I'm guessing 30 minutes before he passed away. And
oh,
you're just done, just, you're stunned. And he doesn't live in, lives in Puerto Rico, or I'm in
yep.
Indy. And it just still hasn't sunk in. So this to me is him working. That's all I can
Amen.
say, right? I mean, there's just no way. I mean, we maybe would have found each other, but boy, not like this. So
Exactly.
it's an honor. I'm just
Exactly.
elated
Yeah.
to be here. It's really, really
And
cool.
if people haven't gone back and listened to that heartfelt interview just a few days before his passing, he was still a man of service. He
Mhm.
still cared deeply about, sending the right messages to the youth, how to mentor referees. And it was beyond a passion, a purpose for him. But yet to make this connection, I am eternally grateful because doing my research and seeing all the things that you've accomplished. Wow. Love to have this opportunity to share that.
Love it, love it. Yeah, and he was a big part of that too. So thrilled to death to do this in his honor
Yes.
for sure.
Wow. Yes. Thank you for allowing us to share that. So where did the passion really start for you? I mean, loving sports, loving football, going to IU. Kind of break it down for the viewers how it all began and where it's manifested itself now.
Yeah, for sure. It all started for me when I was 9 years old. I was born in Evansville. My dad was a sophomore in college, and my mom didn't go to college. She was a year older than my dad, but I was born in family housing shortly after my parents were married at University of Evansville, down in Evansville.
The
And
Aces.
my parents were kind of a hippie, yeah, aces, like old school stuff. And my parents were hippie. They were way too young to be married, way too young to be having kids, but they did. And so my dad graduated. We bounced around a little bit for my job. My parents' marriage wasn't great. They just got married too young, and they just weren't mature enough to handle that kind of stuff. Had me and my brother bounced around to 5 different cities for my dad's job. He was a hospital administrator. Went from Evansville to St. Louis, back to Evansville, Evansville to Columbus, Indiana, Columbus, Indiana to Greenwood. That was all in 5 years, 6 years
Wow.
ish. So then when I'm 9 years old, 8 going on 9, my dad comes home to take me and my brother to see the movie Superman, right? With Christopher Reeves, the original one.
Yeah.
Before we leave, he takes us both and plants us up on the countertop so we could be eyeballs to eyeballs with us. And he says, I got some news to tell you boys. He said, your mom and I have been having some problems, and we're going to be getting divorced. And you're going to go home with mom, and you're going to go live in Evansville, and I'm going to stay up here, and we'll see each other on the weekends and stuff. And I was devastated. I mean, I'm divorced. I've been through that. It's the worst thing ever. It's really hard as a kid to deal with that. And so we moved back home to Evansville. My mom's single mom, secretary, didn't go to, it was her job. She's part-time secretary and no college degree. Met my stepdad, great human being. And they got married a year later, moved us out to Newburgh. And I still wasn't a big friend guy. I didn't have a lot of friends. I was super quiet, bounced around. And I was a real soft kid, especially I'm stereotyping. For a boy, I wasn't like a rough, tumble, wrestle, throw things kind of kid. I was just real quiet, real shy, real in my own world. And my grandpa, in an attempt I realize now to like try to find me some friends, he was trying to do me a favor, sign me up for Little League football, you know? And I got out there, and he talked one of his buddies into having me on his team. One of his buddies, this guy that he knew from, he was a sales guy, name's Tom Simpson. He said, hey, Tom, take my grandson here. He's kind of soft, but he's a good kid. I'm trying to get him some friends. So I got on Coach Tom's team. And you know how you do like Little League football. You're out there. It's August. It's hotter than snot. You're beating on your stomach doing leg lifts. Everyone's crying. You know what I mean? You're drinking out of a hose back in the 80s. There's no water, blah, blah, blah. But we do this Oklahoma drill. It's a football drill. Okay. I don't think you do the Oklahoma drill in basketball. I don't think. Maybe you
Yeah,
should.
no,
Maybe you do
no.
nowadays
Well,
basketball. But
I played quarterback for the high school football team
oh,
for
so you
four
get it.
years.
You get it. So
So those
Oklahoma
hot
drill.
August days and
Right.
salt
You get them.
tablets and
Yes. Old school too, right?
that's right.
You're laying down helmet to helmet, and then they throw the ball to one kid, and you both jump up and try to smash each other. I was doing this drill. I was drilling these kids. And again, I would like hit this kid, and they'd be like, Neil, great job. That's the way to do it. And I'd be like, did I hurt him? Like I was worried. I was like, not wired that way. But what I realized was this became my outlet for all of my emotional junk that I carried inside with my parents splitting up and always being a new kid moving around. And I got addicted to it. I got addicted to that feeling, number one, of being in a safe space where I could physically knock the crap out of another human in a controlled environment and it was okay. And I saw my dad every other weekend. He was a non-sports guy. He didn't know, he's passed away, but he didn't know the difference between football and basketball, didn't care. He thought sports were dumb. And my coaches became father figures to me. My dad came down. I played from fifth grade down there until through senior year. Played for John Leidy, a Hall of Fame coach. He's also passed away. His son is a head coach now at Mount Vernon High School here in Indiana, and a great human being. My dad, I think, came to 2 football games from fifth grade to my senior year. Wow. He came to my Little League championship one year, and he came to my senior night, my senior year. So because he wasn't there, and I still had a relationship with him, but it wasn't the type of father relationship that a lot of young men need with a dad. So my football coaches became my father figures. Tom Simpson, who was a volunteer Little League coach, was the first one. And I fell in love with the game that way. I fell in love with the coaching coach-player relationship that way. So those guys all the way through high school, my football coaches, we had lots of success at Castle High School. That's where I went, good football school. They became my father figures, and they were the ones that taught me. So the sports, the fuse was lit for me then. And so when it came time to graduate from high school, so Coach Leidy, coach is your coach. Y'all have funny ways to say things sometimes. You got to think about them, right? They're kind of like I say they're like joke grenades. Like you say a joke, you got to think like what? So Coach Leidy used to say when he was talking about my speed, so he called me Curly Neale. My last name's Neale. So if you get some of you got to Google that, but Coach Scott knows,
that's
Curly
right.
Neale, greatest basketball players ever,
Globetrotter.
Greatest ball handler ever. So my nickname was Curly. He'd say, Curly, you could run all day in a shoebox. And I'd be like, what the hell is it? Shoebox? What's it? I'm like, he'd say, Curly, he'd go, Christmas morning gets here faster than you do. You know what I mean? Because like kid at Christmas, like, wait, when's Santa Claus going? So I was really slow is the point. And I was talking to one of my coaches. I said, I want to stay involved in the game. I'm going to go study business, but I think I want to be a volunteer coach. He said, no, you don't. You're not going to be a teacher. Don't do it. It's really hard. You won't get paid. You'll work too much. Here's what you should do instead. You should get your referee's license. He's like, you can make beer money in college, keeps you in the game. You kind of got the demeanor for it. That's what you should do. I'm like, that's a good idea. So I took my test, 1988. Here's what now, Coach, I'm not going to ask you how you deal with refs. And I know you had Ted on, I get 2 refs. So something even tells me like you got something special in your heart for refs, which I appreciate as a basketball coach. But the get your license, you take a 100-question true false open book test. And I still only got an 83 out of 100. That's what's wrong with sports officiating, right? We're flunking tests all over the place. Got my license, and I went up. I was a freshman in Indiana. I worked my first JV football. It was my first game ever, JV football game at Bloomington South High School. I didn't know anything, and I was 18. You know what I mean? I was like just older than the players. I'm running around. So in football, we do these signals like basketball guys do. So we hold our hands to stop the clock above our heads. We throw our flag, we blow our whistle. I didn't do any of that. I just ran around like I didn't know what I was doing. I was just running around, like watching the game. And I got in the car after that. I'm like, God, that was awesome. These 2 guys that worked with me, they went away like, God, that guy sucked. He was terrible. That guy didn't know what he's doing. I was hooked, man. I was hooked. Worked that season, and then I did a little note card and wrote down all these goals that I wanted to have, and then just went on the path the rest of the way up. It's been
I love
great ride.
hearing that because you knew you wanted to stay involved in the game. How could you impact others by staying in the game? And then you wrote down your goals. You had a plan of action. You stuck to that plan of action. We talked about referees, and to me, I'm one of those guys that I always thought outside the box, and I wanted to have a good relationship so I could effectively communicate with the referees. And I was never going to belittle or undermine because you're human. You're trying to do the best you could. And so, yes, I've had NBA referee Joey Crawford on. I've had Derek Stafford who came on, and Ted Bernhardt who came on.
Yeah.
And I think I'm kind of breaking the mold a little bit because, we're supposed to hate zebras, right?
Right.
But for me, I knew and respect you guys had a job to do, and you weren't there to intentionally try to sabotage a game or a player or a coach. So to me, having that relationship to communicate with the referees to me was vital. But from your perspective as the referee, what is it that you appreciate most about being able to communicate
Mm.
with a coach during the heat of battle.
Yeah, it's really good. And regardless of sport, I try to talk about this stuff too, like just generically too. And I say this too, and this is a plug. I don't think people realize the near crisis we're in for the lack of sports officials. It is starting to affect lower level games, and that will just parlay into higher level games. We're canceling games. My stepson just got a lacrosse tournament canceled because they didn't have enough refs.
Oh,
And it's really hard to watch because of, like you said, we're sort of so programmed to yell at refs, to complain, to scream at them. And if you're a young person these days trying to make some money, you're like, I don't need that, right? They're going to go do something else. So that's a thing. But with the mobility to either move up and advance, whether it's basketball, baseball, football, whatever, or just to enjoy that avocation of officiating, there is no doubt in my mind those who can communicate well, both with coaches and players, will always outperform those who can't. Always. It is so directly correlated to that. Like anything, like coaching, like reffing, I always say 99% of the people are great. 1% are jerks. They just are. That's kind of anything in life. That's the way it is.
Yep.
And unfortunately, sometimes the jerks are the ones that get noticed. The power tripping ref, the one that wants to be in charge, the one that won't take anything from you at all. The rest of us are there, to me, with the same goal in mind. We want to give the kids and the players a safe and fair experience. That's it. Nothing more. And we all know, you as a coach, a player as a player, me as a ref, all of us are also chasing the perfect game, knowing we're never going to catch it. Always we're doing that. And as long as we both all understand that that's what the goal is, we all want to work a perfect game. You want to coach a perfect game? I'm suspecting you did not. I've never reffed a perfect game. Players never played a perfect game. We're all chasing the same thing. And we all love this game that we're doing, whether it's basketball, baseball, football, doesn't matter. And so once we're there, we're on equal grounds. Now we're talking through things. And and this takes some time. I have a little bit of a natural gift here, but more education is, I look at a coach almost as a coworker. Like, we're doing this together. Yep. It's not me against him or her.
That's
it's
right.
us.
Yeah, it's not adversarial.
Right? No,
right.
Not at all. And you want to protect your players. You want a fair game and a safe game. I do too. I want to protect your players. I would never say, sorry, coach, like Bryan, he blew over the guy. I'm not like, well, sorry, I'm not protecting your guys tonight, coach. Too bad. I'm never thinking that. I'm just thinking, I saw something a certain way. You saw it a different way, and that's it. And these days, I'm sure as a coach, you may use this. We use it in football. The eye in the sky does not lie. The eye in the sky does not lie. We have so much film these days.
That's right.
That which is actually a gift, because now I can say to any coach I talk to, they see I call it a foul or a hold or something, and they see it differently. I say, coach, we're both going to get the film after this, and one of us is right. That's it. I mean, we have a saying: don't wrestle with a pig in the mud, because sooner or later you realize the pig likes it. I'm just not going to sit there and argue with somebody. It's like, and I got my fair share of mistakes, no doubt about it. So communication, to me, and the ability to openly communicate without ego, with the same intention behind it, can work. And we can still disagree in that environment.
That's right. So much, sportsmanship is such a valuable thing. And I think we, as role models, educators, speakers, we need to speak on that more, because what happens is, and you kind of briefly talked about it, and correct me if I'm wrong, social media now today, it hurts my heart to pull up a Twitter or an Instagram, and there's some referee being abused, physically abused and assaulted, which is criminal. And we see that, and it gets polarized, and people are like, oh, wow. From a referee's perspective, what do you wish could happen to best protect you and to grow, to have future referees where they're not going to be criminally assaulted while they're out there trying to perform their duties, because they're only making $30 a game to be out there to help your son anyway on a weekend. So why criminally assault a man who's there to basically enjoy and recreate and provide a service for them?
Yes, that's exactly what it is. So first of all, I will say the National Association of Sports Officials, the NASO, run by Barry Mano, who I think he just announced he's stepping down. in my last magazine. I think I read that, but he does a publication and also represents the assault on a sports official has been raised to a felony level. You have to fact check this, coach, but it's in the 30s, I believe, to a felony level. So assault against a sports official, and that's anything that's coming up after game and, hit me in the arm as a felony because I'm a sports official. Versus it would be like simple battery, maybe
I'm
misdemeanor.
glad to hear that, though. I'm
Yes,
glad because
it
you
is.
guys need to protect it, and
Yeah.
you can't protect yourselves because,
No.
again, if you don't have the mannerism or the personality or the ego, you're not going to protect yourself, and you're just going to get pummeled. So I
Right.
applaud that decision.
Yes. And they're still working. I mean, the goal is ultimately to get it across the board in all states that assault against any sort of physical assault against a sports official will be a felony, a class, whatever they are, D felonies or whatever. I'm not a lawyer, but so that's one thing, which is good. The other thing that to me is lacking here is the awareness of parents, especially at lower levels. People want to always know the inside scoop, like who's the biggest jerk coach. I said, who's the toughest group is the 6th grade parents, the 5th grade parents. They're the tough ones.
Yeah.
Because I get it. They're passionate. Their kids finally getting like a little bit of athleticism going. It's getting competitive. And they're screaming and yelling. And the seat, their lawn chair is right next to the field. And they're screaming at this ref. And it creates this environment where nobody wants to do that. Like you said, and especially, NBA, Major League Baseball, NFL, we get paid. I mean, we get paid. Nobody else does. Lower level guy, 20, and I did that for 27 years, lower level stuff. It's long, but no one wants that kind of abuse. And so whether it's a combination of education or structured leagues, making and then abiding by strict rules that if there's verbal abuse against an official, you'll be removed from the field, period. As a parent, I don't care if your kid's the best kid on the team. It doesn't matter. If you verbally abuse an official from the sideline, you're out, period. Yeah. And stick to it. And parents go crazy on that. Like, I pay all this money for my kid. And that doesn't give you the right to go out and verbally abuse someone who's working on, like, I love what you said, coach, for you. That person's working for you and for your kid. Yeah. It's not some entitled thing that I get to say whatever I want to you because I'm a parent and I paid for it because I'm working for you.
That's right.
We know that you can't do it without the refs, period, case closed. So in the long run, the thing's got to change at that level. That's what I wish there was more of that lower level policing, sideline policing in leagues, travel tournaments, things like that. And that turned into action where people did get removed from things or their kid gets removed from the league.
Right. Well, and
I hate that. I punch the kid, but I'm like,
right.
How do I get
but here's the thing. If referees are being criminally assaulted and they're canceling games anyway, you're hurting the overall product and taking away an opportunity for a kid to learn life lessons and skills that he'll carry with him the rest of his life. Here's my statement. Parents, stop. The parents are the ones that are living vicariously through the kids. And here's my message to parents. Parents, fuel your son or daughter's emotional fuel tank. Be a support system for your son or daughter. The percentage of these young athletes at the grassroots levels who may go on to be professional athletes is so minimal. Let's talk more about how can we teach teamwork and getting along with others and effectively communicating and lifelong skills that are going to benefit your son or daughter instead of yelling and screaming and being belligerent. Because I'm sorry, parents, you are the role model. You need to act accordingly, because if you're acting a fool, I'm pretty sure that acorn is not going to fall far from the tree. No. And now your son or daughter is going to do the same. And parents, let's be proactive and spread this word. Let's be better. Let's be better. And I don't mean to be on a pedestal there, but it's like I'm in this position to have a platform and share this with a professional like yourself, an expert. Mm-hmm. Let's take care of these referees and officials who are there to provide a service for you. Because I love what you said, Bryan. And I'm sorry to paraphrase, but again, you're there to basically create a safe environment. You don't want someone to get hurt. You want it to be fair. There is no favoritism. And if there is, you need to check yourself before you put that whistle around your neck. So so please speak more on that, because hopefully the more voices that we can get behind this, hopefully we can get a paradigm shift here to get better behavior from our parents, who should be the ultimate role models for our sons and daughters.
Yes, it is so clear. So yeah, my ex mother-in-law used to had a saying. She said, "Chickens don't raise canaries." It's great, isn't it? Oh, it's fantastic. So true, isn't it?
Yes.
And I'm telling you, I see it, and here, and it's a long tail problem, and I see it because I see it from the end of the game. Then I see the parent and the kid get together and walk off, and I see the dad or mom who was complaining the whole game gets with their kid. The kid starts complaining about the ref, and the parent goes with it and agrees with them. And then what we teach a kid is that things that are out of our control are allowed to impact our performance and become an excuse or something to lean on.
Yep.
And the biggest miss for me, and I don't know about you, Coach, but I've been in a lot of situations, business-wise, relationship-wise, where things happen that were out of my control that I didn't think were good or fair. Just happened. I'm sure you had a player that you recruited that went somewhere else for whatever reason. And that's how life is. That's how it is. I'm sure a ref's made a call when you watch the film, they were wrong and it cost you a game. That's life. That's what happens. You lost a business deal. Someone came in and undercut you. That happens. And if we don't teach kids that that's what happens and you can only control you, it's one of the biggest misses we can miss in growing the next generation up. And what a great teaching point when the kid comes off to that ref. My kids, now, of course, my kids, they say anything. It's like, no, we don't do that. This drives me nuts. This happens more in basketball than in football in the lower levels. You go to some of these camps, I'm sure you still maybe see some youth basketball here and there. You see a kid thinks he got fouled, or a kid steals a kid from in the top front court or whatever, and then the kid thinks he got fouled. He does this. He holds his hand up. You can't see me. I'm holding my hands up. Like, whoa, what? That to me is a technical. You don't do that. It's just over the line, and we let it happen. Kids like, whoa. To me, and I watch these little league games, and I can't do that. I would be hard pressed. I would tell the people, if any kid makes a gesture in disgust for a call or no call, it's a technical on the team.
I love that because it's a teachable moment.
100%.
This is appropriate because think about it. For me as a coach, and I've been blessed to have had a sip of tea in the NBA and have won championships in FIBA and nationally ranked programs at the college level. But for me as a coach, I don't want my player focusing on the referee. I want you focusing on the next play. I don't want to see poor body language if you make a mistake, because I don't want one mistake to turn into two mistakes. I don't want to have to coach your effort. I want you to focus and concentrate on your role, being a star in your role. Let the referee do his job. Let me communicate for you to that referee, or I have an assigned captain who is going to speak on your behalf. Do your job. Right now, I don't care what level that is, but if we can teach that at a young age, and maybe if we do a better job at the highest levels, because kids are emulating what they see on ESPN. Da 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 da. Well, now what you're going to see is you see an NBA All-Star player get frustrated and flop and not get a call, and now you see a 7-year-old do the same thing.
Right.
And when the parent tries to say, John, I don't want you to do that. Well, LeBron just did it. Now, I'm just throwing that out there as a hypothetical.
Yes.
But my point is, they're going to emulate what they see. So if we can correct it, at the top and let it trickle down, hopefully we'll have a better overall product that's going to be better for everybody and make it an enjoyable experience for all, safe and fair.
Yes, that's great. It is, it's to your point, it's so hard to watch sometimes. I work in the professional sports league, so I know what this is like. I know the competitiveness. I know how hard the players have worked to get there. I know what's at stake financially, dream wise, all that stuff. And it's hard for me, and I respect my brothers and sisters in the NBA so much. The last 2 minutes of an NBA playoff game are impossible to referee. Ooh. Impossible. Every play, someone is complaining. Now, is there complaining
or going up and one?
Right. They're doing something. I'm like, just play. It's like takes forever, and then we're going to the replay thing. It like takes forever, and it's at some point, I'm like, oh man,
it slows down the fan experience. It does. It dilutes the product, right?
It's just
sports
hard.
entertainment. allow us to entertain, right?
Right.
Just do your
Yes.
job.
Yes.
I know we
Yeah.
sound like a couple old heads here. Get off
No, but
my
it's
lawn.
true.
But
It's true
we're just
though.
trying to make
Yeah.
it better so everybody can have a more enjoyable experience and take from the game what should be taught through the game, which is
Yeah.
the life lessons and the skills and things that will carry over into business and relationships. But we get so diluted with all the superficial things that go on,
Hmm.
it makes it hard to enjoy. So I'm sure in your perspective, and I want you to speak on this because you're out there trying to recruit new youth level referees
Yes.
to come up
Always.
through the
Yes.
ranks. How can we as coaches, parents, and people, spectators, do a better job from your perspective?
Yes. This is great. So, the communication of the whole thing is the start. So, when a kid plays a game, and it's before, during, and after, at some point now, when they're third grade, second grade, it's just like, they're just out there running around, trying to dribble. Once they get, fifth, sixth, it gets a little competitive then I think conversations need to be had about officiating in general. If my kid's going to play youth sports, I need to have a preseason and pregame talk with them about how we deal with refs in our family. This is what you do if you're a Neale kid. My kids, this is how we deal with refs before the game. And if there's anything remotely close during the game that I see my kid, I'm sure Coach Gino from Connecticut, UConn, women's coach, right? I can never say his last name. That's why I don't.
Ariema, Coach
Ariema.
Ariema.
I always screwed up. I always say Ariema. Thank you. Which I want to respect him. Yeah, obviously one of the greatest basketball coaches ever to walk the planet. Have you ever seen his piece on body language with his players? He talks about it all the time. I'm constantly watching their body language. And he said, my best players always have good body language, regardless of what, like they forget that last trip down the court where they made a bad pass or, missed the screen or whatever. They keep good body language. The average players and below average players don't. They sulk, Same with refereeing, right? They get in a sulk position and So we have a conversation before season and game. We have a conversation during if we have to, or if we're the Little League volunteer coach. This is how we deal with officiating or umpiring on our team. This is how we do it. And this is what we do and don't do. Then we have post-game conversations about it. That has to be an alive conversation, because when it's not, what happens is it gets crept on. It gets little by little. So it starts with a little, oh, come on, ump, or oh, that was a strike. Or even in Little League baseball, boom, they miss out the outside corner, and he goes strike. Everyone goes, oh, and then the player's like, oh, I'm like, no, you don't react to that. Body language, nothing. We don't do that. And then we need to learn now. Again, our kids are really, I'm lucky because I do this for a living, but my kids always shake the hands of the officials after the game. Always.
That was going to be
100%
my
of the time.
question. How many
100% of the
times
time.
at a high school level or a college level have you seen an athlete go up and shake the hands and say, thank you for your job. Thank you for
Don't.
what you do.
They don't.
What,
Maybe before
0.001%?
almost never. The teams that I've been a coach of, it's required. We have our team, we shake hands with the opposing team, and then you go find the umps, you run out, and you tell them thank you very much for what they did. All of them, every kid. Umpires love it, coaches love it, coaches should love it. Refs love it. It's a great thing to do. And it teaches these kids to be thankful for people that come out and work below, the normal hourly wage they could do with something else, take time away from their families to give this kid a safe and fair environment. That to me is where it all starts. Yeah. And
I
then
love that. And maybe the parents will learn through the kids if the coaches will take the initiative to not only ask for that, but demand that, because
yes.
you as a referee, you're going to feel appreciated and be grateful for that. And
Yep.
it's going to make your experience walking off the field or court that much better, to where it's like, hey, I'm excited to go back because at least when I know I go into this community, I'm appreciated and I'm valued. We
Yes.
all want that, right?
Yes, 100%. Yes. And the opposite happens when we don't do that. So we go out, I work a game, I get my butt chewed for 2 hours by some dad who's sitting behind the dugout or sitting on the sideline in the basketball gymnasium in June. I'm getting $25. I'm 30 years old. I got a little kid on the way. I'm like, what am I doing?
Yeah.
This is ridiculous. Why am I doing this? Why am I going to get my butt chewed for 2 hours, be away from my wife, my kids? Like, it's not worth it. $30. I'll go mow some grass or something, or go to Starbucks 2 less times this week. It's not worth it.
Yeah.
And so the stickiness factor, when we respect and embrace officials after games and say thank you and appreciate that, that's good. So the other thing I will say, and this is on the officiating community, we need to get better at this. We've done a really poor job, not just recruiting, but recruiting with a purpose. So what we've done, we do this, our high school association, they do their best. They do these little ads and say, hey, we need a sports official. This is Tom. He's a banker. Da, 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 da. We need to get more with the times. We need to get on the social media. And what we need to do is have people tell their why story. I don't referee because I love football. I referee because I didn't have a great relationship with my dad. And every time I walk out there and I get on that field, I heal a little bit more. That's why I referee. That's a big deal. That's way deeper than, oh, I just love football, I want to stay in the game, which is what I used to say before I was comfortable being vulnerable. Like, no, it's a bigger deal than that. I get that Super Bowl. I got so many calls from veteran referees older than me that are fatherly figures saying, I'm proud of you. I felt like a 9-year-old kid again, just like with Coach Tom telling me he's proud of me. It's the same. And I'm telling you, everyone has a version of that story where this role, this avocation of officiating does something for us. It's way deeper than just the game itself. And
Oh
we need to
man.
tell those stories more, not just, hey, we really need some refs, give it a shot,
I love that, Bryan. And so take the viewer and the spectator
Yeah.
through a day in the life when you're preparing, because we all have superstition, we all have routines, we all have things that work for us, right? And
Yeah.
mentally,
Yeah.
physically, spiritually, whatever that may be.
Yes.
But take us through 24 hours before a big game for
Yeah,
you.
sure.
Take that
Yeah.
fan through that experience to a 24-hour in your life.
Yeah, that's great. The 24 hours before, again, when you're at a pro level, it's starting with a flight usually. If you're at a lower level, if you're at a high school level, it's starting with packing your bag, getting ready to go work a high school game. But the point is, it starts before. It does start 24 hours before. It really starts, but way before that. But to stay in the lines, like, okay, 24 hours, what's that look like? And we're getting ready toward the end. So I have a phrase. My wife makes fun of me a little bit because I say this. She's like, "Are you ready?" I got a bit like, what a big Monday night game. Like, you excited? I'm like, I always say this: you have to peak at the right time. Got to peak at the right time. So I stay pretty chill. You know what I mean? I want to peak right before we
But
kick the ball off.
your emotions. You
Oh,
know when to turn it
100%.
on, right?
Absolutely. I can't go there. I'm just chill. I'm ready. I'm just focused. I'm packing my bag. I know I've trusted all the training and work I've done in the off season, whether it's physical, rule study, that sort of thing. Then I'm traveling and then just try to relax and get in the game. As you get to the pro level, there's a lot of scouting involved. We have a lot of film, so we're really studying team tendencies and things like that. As a lower level, so if I'm working a high school game, there's a little bit of that, not as much. I'm looking at the matchups to know if I've got two undefeated teams or maybe a conference game. It's a big deal. Maybe a couple of rivalry teams that may not like each other, whatnot, that sort of stuff. And then we get to game site time. And now we really start to go within ourselves. And now we're getting mentally and emotionally ready for this, for the contest we're about to roll. And that's where, and it's so funny you said that, Coach, that the superstition kicks in. I'm superstitious. So I've got the same routine. I brush my teeth the same way. I pack my bag the same way. I leave. My daughter, she's in college now. She makes me a playlist on Spotify every year. That's my pregame playlist. I listen to that. I always get on the bus and I take a picture, a screenshot of the playlist, the song that's up, and I send it to her with a heart every game. When I get there, I unpack my stuff the same way. I go out to the field. I pull my wife's phone number up, and as I go out to the field, this is 3 hours before a game. My right foot hits the field, not in the end zone though, has to be on the field, as I hit the button to call my wife every time. And it's just so weird, isn't it? People like, superstition is dumb. What superstition is, though, it allows you to relax the conscious mind so that subconscious mind can work. That's what it does for me. It makes things routine. So my frontal cortex isn't buzzing, getting in the way of all this preparation I've done. It just relaxes it all. It makes it kind of boring.
No,
Like, gosh,
I love that. But now,
boring, right?
now
Yeah.
let's equate that. I was blessed to be with Steph Curry as a rookie, when he was
Awesome.
drafted out of Davidson with Golden State. And
Awesome.
he has his pregame routine, which now become infamous, where he's got his ball handling, he goes through his shooting, but it's the same thing.
Yes.
It's that muscle memory. It's that
Yes.
redirecting the focus. It's calming yourself to allow the body to do and let the mind do what it was trained to do. So
Yes.
I'm equating you because you're too humble to do it. So I'm basically letting the viewers know and the listeners of the show that you're basically setting yourself just like that with those routines. And yes,
Yes.
it may sound superstitious, but that routine is something that you've done over and over again. And even if you're off that routine a little bit, you're going to go back and redo it so that you
Yeah.
get it right, because that's how you reconnect yourself to do your job at your optimal peak performance. Correct?
That's it. 100%. That's what it is. People, it's not goofy. It's exactly that. It's allowing your, you said a great, mind and body to operate at peak performance so that everything else is boring. Everything else is the same.
Yep.
And my body knows what to do and everything else is the same. My mind knows what to do.
Yeah, you're
Things get
blocking
thrown
out the
off.
white
Yeah,
noise,
right.
right? Yeah,
Yeah,
all
totally.
the stuff that's going on, the hums
All
in
the
the
hubbub.
background, the
Yes.
voice. Yeah.
Yes. Yes. Because, the joke is, we go to these stadiums and get, and after all the hubbub, it's every game. I mean, it's bigger. You get to a Super Bowl or a big playoff game, it's way different. It's even more so. But every game, there's so many meetings and administrative stuff and meet here, meet there. And this person wants that and that person wants that. Finally, after all that stuff, we kick the ball off.
You
Now
get
we
to
got
go
a
do
game.
your job.
We get to go do our job. It's the greatest 3 hours of the week. I'm telling you.
Well,
Go ahead.
I know I didn't mean to interrupt you, but just taking the viewers of the show
Yeah.
through that human experience to allow them to get to know what it's like for Bryan Neale, number 92, to walk on that field. But maybe
Yeah.
now we can connect better and say, you know what? He's just trying to do his job.
Yeah.
Let's let
Yeah.
this man do his job without chastising him or going over. I remember coaching in Puerto Rico where they would be so upset the referees, they actually flipped their cars. And I'm thinking, are you kidding me right now? I
Right.
mean,
Yes.
took fanatics to a whole nother
Yes.
level.
Yes.
But thank you for sharing that, because you are human. You are trained. You go through hours of video sessions and preparation that a lot of people don't know. They think you just
Mm-mm.
put a whistle around your neck and walk out there and, throw a flag. No, 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 no. There's
No.
hours and hours of preparation that lead into a game. So kind of talk about what it is like for a professional to prepare himself through video, because
Yeah.
technology is there, so we
Great.
use it. Thank goodness, right?
Yeah. It's fantastic these days. And people ask me too sometimes, like, do you like replay? Are you bummed out when you get overturned? I'm like, no, not at all. I'm glad because I
Because you
want to get
just
them all
want to get
right.
it right.
Totally.
You
And I did
just
with the
want to
best I
get it right.
could with my eyes in one shot. And boy, it sure is easy when I've got slow motion, super slow mo, 4D, 4K view. It sure is easy to referee those plays. You should try it with two eyeballs live when you're turning your
Right?
head. It's like, yeah. So, yeah, the video study is fantastic. So we said it earlier in the episode, the eye in the sky does not lie. I will also say this. We are, and I'm sure you know this, because I think coaches are wired this way to a degree. We are our own worst critics. I don't need
Oh,
anyone on Twitter telling
yep,
me what I did wrong. I can
yep,
make a bigger list than you can of the
yep,
things I did wrong,
yep.
guaranteed.
Yeah,
And when
we're
we get
going
in the
to hold
locker room,
ourselves accountable
oh,
at the high level,
absolutely.
because I mean it's our jobs. We're
Yes.
paid to do our job, and yes, I'm going to be harder on myself than what anybody can say to me,
Yes.
whether it's an owner of a franchise or a general manager.
Yes.
I beat myself up 50 times before he even looked at
Yes.
me. So it's
Pretty
the same.
straightforward. Same deal. We get in locker room. We're not looking at plays like, oh, watch this awesome holding call. You want to see my great hold? We don't do that. I'm like, God, I got to go look at that play. I think I might have missed a tripping foul there. And like, nope, I got lucky. I didn't. Or, oh, shoot, I should have called that. Dang it. I should have called it. And then I go back to the film. This is the film study question now. And I get every angle. In the NFL, we have every angle of every play. We have two end zones. We have a sideline. We have what's called an all 29 that's affixed on the field, shows all 22 players plus 7 officials. Plus, we have all the TV replays, everything to watch. And so then what we're doing is we're looking at what we got right and what we did well to get it right. We're not saying we did awesome. We're saying, what did we do? Because that's behavior we want to repeat. And then what did we get wrong? And what behavior led us to getting it wrong? Is it mechanics? Is it where I looked, where I stood? Is it judgment? How could I alter my judgment? Could someone have helped? It's very team oriented. And so that film study is constant. And this is the part where people say, and I just don't even audit it because I have a full-time job. I run a company during the week and then I'm roughing on the weekends. And it's the film study is constant. It's accessible to me all the time. And so we're looking at film every day. It's literally every day. And We work hard to watch the previous week to a point, and then, as you coach say, a game's over, it's over, right? You watch the final film, final grade it, then you're done. Then you're watching film for the next week.
On
That's
to
where we
the
get more
next.
tendency stuff. And you look at players and teams, and you're not looking for foul tendencies there. You're looking for play tendencies to anticipate where to look. So if we know a team does a lot of no huddle, then we're ready for ball mechanics and no huddle. If we see that they do a lot of RPO, run pass options, football term, that we know, we're looking for that and the nuances of those things. And so that film study is critical. And the technology is so good. It all zips down now to an iPad. It's almost instant, and it's high def. It's just fantastic. And it's the greatest tool we have. It really is the greatest tool we have.
Bryan, that's phenomenal, because things that I heard echoing from you were accountability and transparency. You just want to get it right. And I want the viewers to know and understand that's what the best of the best care about. And you are one of the best of the best. It's great to have you sharing this knowledge right now. Take us through what is it that you do, Bryan, to get yourself physically prepared so you have yourself to the right angle after all your study to know what types of plays or anticipations? Because maybe you're going to hear a call from a sideline where you kind of know, oh, okay, well, I know what's coming.
Yes.
But what are you doing to get your body prepared with the stretching routine and eating and recovery and rest? So take the viewers through that for me.
That's great. So, like a lot of us do, especially in the Midwest, I fight the dad bod a bit. I got a little inner tube going, but I have had my whole career and my whole life, I've had that. So it's constant. Eating is a thing. It's constant awareness. So I'm always tooling it. And as we get older, those things change too. So things that used to work for me, at the kitchen table don't work anymore. And I've got to continue to modify and watch it. The NFL does a great job supporting us. We have the officiating group itself has a nutritionist, a personal trainer that we have full access to. They'll give us meal plans, recovery routines after games. It's really, really high tech, and we're very supportive.
Wow.
I have a personal trainer here. I work certain programs that I'll alter with my eating right now. I'm experimenting with fasting right now. It's kind of a buzzy thing, and doing some research on that and saying, okay, what's healthy fasting look like for me, and how is that? So it's a constant work in process. Yeah. We have some things that I think are applicable to anything you do in life that are on the field too. The first is being in the right position. We call that mechanics and refereeing. And it starts with routine-based things where we literally stand in the same spot every time before the snap. Basketball officials, if you watch NBA officials, you see them, they actually don't move a lot because they know when they move, their eyes wiggle. And then when they do move, and we borrowed this a little bit from them in some research that our leadership did, we support this idea called move with purpose, MWP, move with purpose. So if I am going to move, I'm not just moving to move, I'm moving to get to an angle based on what I'm seeing in a play for coverage, for best angles to see things. Wow. Along with that, and this is great because you have this is where we've really improved. We have more room to go. You have a basketball IQ as a Hall of Fame coach. You can look at it, you can just literally watch a pickup game, and it's like you see things that other humans don't see. Yep. I ref basketball for 11 years. My little joke is I had to work my tail off to be average. And that was as good as it was going to get, because basketball did not come naturally to me. Even as a player, I played until my sophomore year of high school. I was the take the charge guy, football player playing basketball, my thing. So I played for Mike Broughton, by the way. Do you know Mike? Mike Broughton, Hall of Fame guy. Okay, he's coach at Rushville. He's in the Hall of Fame too. We have this phrase called football IQ. You have basketball IQ. We need basketball officials to have basketball IQ. Common sense of what situation is in front of us and what play might occur given the situation. Some obvious things in basketball. If I'm down one, I'm taking the ball out in the front court underneath the basket with 0.7 seconds left. There's a couple plays to run. It's probably not launch it into the backcourt, shoot a three. You're probably going to try to pick and roll something inside to get some sort of layup or a nice little turnaround thing. That's basketball IQ. How do you defend that? That's basketball IQ. We have the same thing in football. And we have to exercise our football IQ for situational football, especially in the National Football League, because it's so situational. So we become more coach-oriented. We have coaches that are retired from coaching football in the NFL that now work in the officiating department, that train us on the football stuff. They give us the lingo. So we talk to the players and coaches like the players and coaches talk to each other. That is really cool stuff, because then we can really dial our work in. And that is that advanced level of communication and understanding makes our job, it actually makes it easier for us. Because when we're talking two different languages, or I don't have basketball IQ, I don't anticipate things happening.
Right.
Then I miss a turn quick, boom, guy gets hit in the elbow, and I wasn't watching because I was watching this other guy, like, in a big play. So
Bryan, I love that, because what I'm hearing you say, you have continued throughout your career to evolve and empower yourself with the skills and the tools that you needed to have that IQ to be trained, specifically trained. But yet the greatest referees, the greatest coaches, the greatest players are always a student of their craft. And the great ones know how to slow it down, right? So
Always.
if you are a Joe Montana, or if you are a Peyton Manning, if you are a Patrick Mahomes, you are so prepared with your studies of film, with preparation, your own physical skills and tools, that you can slow the game down, that where it becomes easier. And it's the same for a referee as it is a coach. And I hear that coming from you. So I just wanted to expand on that. And here we've got like 2 minutes left, Bryan. And I mean, you do a podcast, you're a speaker, you're a trainer, you're a business owner, you're a loving husband and father. And those are all wonderful things. But what do you feel is the biggest message? And this is hard, and I know I'm putting you on the spot here.
That's right.
But what was the biggest message you could just share with the viewers and the listeners of this show? What's your message to the fans?
Yes. I reffed a Big Ten game at Iowa one time. And after the game, I had a flight to catch. So I went down to have a beer at the bar, and I was in street clothes. And these two guys were bitching about the refs in the game, and they didn't know I was a ref. So I was like, what happened? Like, oh, they screwed us over. God, it's terrible. Talked to him for like 15, 20 minutes, whatever it was. I had one beer and got on my flight. Like, hey, it's great to talk to you. Like, hey, great talking to you, man. Well, I see you later. And I thought they didn't know who I was, And so what it taught me was that they are yelling at the shirt. They're not yelling at me. And the way I transfer that to just life in general is that you're going to have relationships. You're going to have people. You're going to have things that happen in your life that feel like they're at you, at your soul and your core, and they're not. There's some other thing going on there. In the end, you have to live with yourself in your little, 3 cubic foot body with all your organs and water and stuff your whole life. And that's all you got. That and your relationship with the higher power. Those are the two things. And so as you get in things from the outside, people mad at you, hate you, whatever, even things that people love on you, which is great. I think just keep in mind that you're the only you that ever was and ever will be. And when people come at you, I always say they're just coming at your shirt. They're not coming at you, at your soul. And it's a very peaceful way to be.
That is powerful. That is impactful. That is gold, because think about it. Those people criticizing, that's more of a reflection of their character and not who you are.
100%.
Correct?
100%.
Bryan, this has been enlightening. And thank you for sharing your time, just being selfless, and continue to be spectacular like you are, because the impact on the lives around you are tenfold. So I'm a fan. I can't wait to see you in person sometime soon, brother. And I just think there's so much more we could dig into, and we haven't even scratched the surface. But man,
Right.
This was good stuff, Bryan.
Yeah, same thing. I can't say thanks enough. And God bless Ted for putting us together. And congrats again on Hall of Fame and what you're doing, because it's real easy to retire as a coach and just drift away and go play golf all day. So you might do that kind of sometimes, but I'm really glad that you're giving back with your show And I guarantee it's inspiring someone that you don't even know about yet. So bravo to you on that.
Oh, God bless you, Bryan. I appreciate you. Number 92. I'm looking out for you on any
I'll be
given
there.
Sunday, baby.
Don't yell at
Bryan
me.
Neale, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you once again, ladies and gentlemen, for again viewing the Coach Scott Field Show. Share this content so others can be empowered and have more knowledge and learn from the experts. Just like Bryan Neale here, number 92 here, NFL umpire. And I've got nothing but admiration and respect for you, my friend. God bless.
Thanks, man. See you, Coach.